Chapter 1 The Great Gatsby. In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the advantage that you two have. You didn't say any more, but we always been usually communicated in a universal way, and I understand that it meant a great deal more than that. In consequence, I'm inclined to resolve all judgment. I have it that involved many curious nature to me. It also made me victim of not a few bedroom balls. The abnormal mind could detect, attach itself into quality when it appears a normal person, and so came about that in college I was unjustly accused of being a politician, because I attributed to secret groups of wild unknown men. Most of the confidence is one unsolved. Frequently may I feign sleep reoccupation or hustle library when I realize by some unmistakable lies an intimate revelation of quivering on the horizon. For the intimate revelation of a young man, or at least the terms in expression then, I will usually blacklisted or marred by our suppression. Resolving judgment a matter of infinite hope. I'm still a little afraid of missing something if I forgot that, as my father's nervously suggested, and I soon lost a bit. A sense of the fundamental decency is parceled out unequally at earth. And after boasting Miss wife with tolerance, I come to the admission it has a limit. Conduct may be founded on the hard rock and the red mushroom, but after certain points I don't care what it's founded on. When I came back from East last autumn, I thought the no war with a new uniform and the sort of moral attention forever. I want no more a writer's excursion with privileged crimson with human heart. Only Gatsby, the man who gives the name this book, was examined from my own reaction. Gatsby, who represents everything which I have an unaffected school. If personality is an unbroken series of successful gestures, then there's something gorgeous about him, some heightened sensitivity promised of life, as if he were related to one of those interrogate machines that were just earthquake 10,000 miles away. This responsible needs nothing to do with that flattering impression of believing which he dignified under the name of the courier of the temperament. It was an extraordinary gift for hot romantic readiness such as I have never found in any other person, and which is not likely shall ever found again. No, Gatsby turned out right at the end. It is what preyed on Gatsby, what followed thus floated in the wake of a dream, that temporarily crossed at my interest in the abode of sorrow and short-winded orations of men. My family being prominent well to the people in this middle of western city 3 generations. The Caraways is something of a clan, and we have a tradition that were descended the Dukes of Buccleuch. But the actual founder of my line was my grandfather's brother, who came here in 51, sent to substitute Civil War, and start wholesale hardware business that my foreigns own today. I never saw this girl uncle, but I suppose looked like him, with special reference to the leather hard-boiled printing hence my father's office. I graduated from him in 1915, just a quarter of a century after my father, and a little later I participated at the late Teutonic migration known as the Great War. I enjoyed the country so thoroughly that I came back restless. Instead of being 1 through the wall, the metal was now seeming like the ragged edge of a river. So I decided to go east and run the bun business. Everybody I knew was in the bun business, so I supposed we could support one more single man. My answer uncle talked it over is either choosing a prep school for me, and finally said, why, yes, with every grade has to faces. Father graded finance on me for a year, and after various delays, I came east permanently, I thought, in the spring of 22. The practical thing is find room in the city, but it's warm season. And I just left the country of the right Brown's friendly tree. So when a young man at the office suggests we take a hostel together commuting town, it sounds like a great idea. He found us house, weather-beaten cardboard bungalow, 80 a month. But at last minute the firm ordered in the Washington, and I went to the country alone. I had a dog, at least I had one for a few days until it ran away. And the adults, and the Finnish woman who made a bed and cooked breakfast, and mother finished wisdom to herself over the electric stove. It was lonely for days or so, until one morning some man who was recently arrived than I stopped me on the road. How do you get to Westside Village? He asked helplessly. I told him, and I walked down lonely longer. I was a guy, a pathfinder, and resumed sat alone. He is casually confronting me freedom of the neighborhood, and saw the sunshine and the great bursts of leaves growing on the tree, just a thing growing fast moving. I had a familiar conviction life was beginning over again with the summer. There was so much to read for one thing, so much to find how to pull down out of the young breath-giving air. I bought a dozen volumes on banking, credit, investment security, and stood on my shelf in the red and gold like new money from the men, promising to own for the Chinese secret that only Miles Morgan and Miss Sennett knew. And I had the high intention reading many of their books beside. I was rather literary in college. One year I wrote a series of very solemn and obvious territorial near new, and now I was going to bring back all such things into my life and become again this most limited of all specialists, the well-rounded man. This isn't just an epigram. Life was much more successful little looked at from single window after all. It was a matter of chance that I should have rented a house in one of these strange communities in North America. It was on that slender lighter side which extended itself to east New York, and whether I, among other neck curiosity, too unusual for me they should land. 20 miles from this city, a pair of enormous eggs, identical to control and separated only by a crystal bay, just into the most domesticated body of salt water in the Western Hemisphere, the great wet barnyard of Long Island Sound. They are not perfect oval, like the egg on the Columbus story. They are both crushed flat as you contact them, but their physical resemblance must be source of perpetual wonder to the girl that fly overhead. To the wingless, a more interesting phenomenon is their dissimilarity in every particular except shivering inside. I live the West Egg, the less fashionable too, though this is a more superficial tag to express the bizarre and not only the sinister contrast between them. My house is about the tip of the egg, only 50 yards from the sun, and squeezed between two huge places that rented for 12 or 15,000 a season. The one on my right was a colossal affair by any standard. It was a factual limitation for Hotel Row in Normandy, with a tower on side, spanking you under a thin bier of rock ivy and a marvelous swimming pool, and more than 40 acres lawn and garden. It was Gatsby's mansion, or rather, as I didn't know Mr. Gatsby, it was mentioned heavily by a gentleman of that name. My own house is Mysore, but it was a small eyesore, and you've been overlooked, so our view of the water, a partial view of my neighbor's lawn, and the consul approximately a millionaire, all for $80 a month. Across the Curtis Bay with the lighthouse of fashionable East Egg glitter along the water. And the history of the summer really begins of evening. I drove every day to have dinner at Tom Buchanan. This was my second cousin wanted to move, and I known Tom in college, and just afterward I spent 2 days with them in Chicago. Her husband, among various physical accomplishments, had been one of the most powerful ends who ever played football in New Haven, and actually in a figurative way. One of those men who reached such an acute limit of excellence at 21 that everything afterward savors anticlimax. His family was enormously wealthy, even in colleges through the money matter for the port. But now he left Chicago and come east in a fashion that rather took your breath away. For instance, he brought down a string polo pony from Lake Forest. It was hard to realize a man in my own generation was worthy enough to do that. Why they came east I don't know. They spent a year in France for no particular reason, and then drifted here and there unrestfully, wherever people play polo and do leads together. This was a permanent move, except days of the telephone, but I didn't believe it. I will not siding days with her, but I felt that Tom was a telephone forever, sinking a little wistfully through the dramatic turbulence of some irrecoverable football game. And so it happened in the evening I drove over to East Egg to see a friend whom I still knew overall. The horse is more elaborate than I expected, a cheerful red and white. She was in colonial mansion overlooking the bay. The lawn started the beach and ran to the front door for a quarter of a mile, jumping over sundials, brick walls, burly garden. Finally, when I reached the hall, dripping off the side and bright fine, as though the momentum was wrong. The front was broken by a line of French window, gloaming now as the reflected gold and wide open the windy afternoon. And Tom Buchanan, in riding clothes, standing with his legs apart the front porch. He changed since he knew Heaven. Now he was a sturdy, straw-haired man of 30, with a rather hard mouth in a supercilious manner. Two shining, arrogant eyes steadfast dominance for his face, and gave him the appearance always leaning aggressively forward. Not even the effeminate swing of his riding clothes could hide the enormous powers of that body. He seemed to feel those listening boots until he strained the top lacing, and you could see the great pack of muscle shifting when a shoulder moved under his thin coat. It was a body capable of enormous levers, a cruel body. His speaking voice, a gruff, husky tone, added to the impression of fatuousness she conveyed. There was a touch of a paternal contempt in it, even toward people he liked, and remember you haven't, you are here is God. Now, don't think my opinion on this matter is final. He seems the same just because I'm stronger and more of a man you are. You are in same senior society, and while we never intimate, I always had the impression you'd approve me and wanna be like him. Some harsh, the fine wistfulness of his tone. Wistfulness of tone. You thoughtfully need a sunny porch. I've got a nice place here, he said, his eye flashing bright restlessly. Turning me around by arm, he moved a brown flat hand along the front vista, including a sweet but sunken Italian garden. I have acre of deep punching roses, and a snub-nosed motorboat, but bumped the tide offshore. It belonged to Damien, the old man. He turned me around again politely, properly. We'll go inside. We walked through a high hallway in the bright, rosy-colored space. Fragilely bound in the house, a French window is either end. The windows were ajar and gleaming white against the fresh grass outside, but seemed to grow a little way into the house. A breeze blew the room, blue curtains at one end, and up the other like pair of flags, twisting them up toward the frost-winning cake of the ceiling, and the liberal wine-colored rock, making shadow on it as wind does in the sea. The only complete stationary object in the room was an enormous cot and the two young women buoyed up, as though upon an ankle balloon. They were both in white, and her dresses were rippling flattering, as if they'd just been blown back in after a short flight around the house. I almost stood for a few moments, listening to the wet snap of the curtain and the groan of the picture on the wall. Then the boom with Tom Buchanan shut the window, the cut wind died out about the room, and the curtains unlocked, and the two young women ballooned slowly to the floor. The younger of the two was a stranger to me. She was extended full length to her end of the ribbon, completely emotionless, and with her chin raised a little, as if she was balancing something on it, which was quite like a reform. If you saw me near the corner of her eyes, she gave no hint of it indeed. I was almost surprised into murmuring the apology for having disturbed by coming in. The other girl, Daisy, made no attempt to run. She leaned slightly full of the conscious suspicion. Then she laughed in soft, trembling laugh, and I laughed too, and came forward in the room. I'm paralyzed with happiness, she laughed again, as if she said something very witty, and held my hand for a moment, looking up in my face, promising there is no one in the world she so much wanted to see. That was why she hinted in murmur, that the surname of the balancing girl is Baker. I heard said that Daisy's murmur is only to make people rain to water in the lullaby cruises and made her look less charming. Yet anyway, Miss Baker's lips fluttered. She nodded at me almost imperceptibly, and then quickly tipped her head back again. The object she was balancing had obviously tottered a little, and given her something in the fun. Again, the sort of the apology rose my lips, almost in exhibition, completely sufficient draws stunned to find me. I looked back to cousin, who began to question in little Australian voice. It was the kind of voice the ear follows up and down, as if its speech, arranged or known, that would never be played again. Her face sad and lovely with bright things in it, bright eyes, bright passionate mouth. But there was an excitement in her voice that men care for her found difficult for that. A singing composition, a whisper listened. But promise you'd done gay, exciting thing just a while. Since and that they gay, exciting things hovering the next hour. I wonder how I stopped no good Chicago day my way. And how a dozen people sent their love through me. Do they miss me? She cried ecstatically. The whole town is desolate. All the clouds are left real painted black and mourning. And this persistent wail all night long in a little show. How gorgeous. Let's go back, Tom. Tomorrow. Then she ended levelly. You ought to see the baby. I like to. She's asleep. She's 3 years old. Haven't you seen her? Never. Well, you are to see her. She's Tom Ucandoit. You've been hovering restlessly about the room. Stopped and rested hand my shoulder. What you doing, Nick? I'm a bondman. Who with? I told him. Never heard of them, he remarked decisively. This annoyed me. You will, I answered shortly. You will if you stay in the East. I'll stay in the East, don't you worry, he said, glancing Daisy in the back at me, as if he were for something more. I'd be a goddamn fool to leave anyone else. At this point, Miss Baker said, absolutely, with such a suddenness that I suddenly. It was the first word she had uttered since I came into the room. Evidently surprised or was it at me, for she on with a series of rapid, deft movements stood up into the room. I'm stiff, she complained. I've been lying on the sofa for as long as we can remember. Don't look at me, Daisy retorted. I've been trying to get to New York all afternoon. Nothing, said Miss Baker to the fur cocktail dusting in from the pantry. I'm absolutely in training. Her host looked at her incredulously. You are? He took down his drink, his every word dropped on the bottom of the glass. How you ever get anything done is beyond me. I looked at Miss Baker, wondered what it was she got done. I enjoyed looking at her. She was a slender, small-breasted girl with a black carriage, which she accentuated by throwing her body backward and shoulder like a young cadet. Her gray, sun-strained eyes looked back at me with polite, reciprocal curiosity out of one charming, discontented face. It occurred to me now that I had seen her or a picture of her somewhere before. You live in West Egg, she remarked contemptuously. I know somebody there. I don't know single. You must know Gatsby. Gatsby? demanded Daisy. What Gatsby? Before I could reply that she was my neighbor, dinner was nice. Raising his tense arm in parallel in mine, Tom Ucandoit compelled me from the room as though he were moving a checker to another square. Slenderly, lengthily, their hands set lightly on their hips, the two young women preceded us out under the rosy-colored porch, open toward the sunset, with a candle flicker on the table in the diminished wind. What candle? Objected Daisy, frowning. She snapped them out with a finger. In 2 weeks, it'll be the longest in the year. She looked at us radiantly. You always watch for the longest day of the year and then message? I always watch for the longest day of the year and then message. We are the plan something near Miss Baker, sitting down the table. The ships were getting in the bag. All right, said Daisy. What have we planned? She turned to me helplessly. What do people plan? Before Gary answered, her eyes fastened with the odd expression on the little finger. Look, she complained. I hurried. Look. The knuckle was black and blue. You did it, Tom, she said accusingly. I know you didn't mean to, but you did do it. That's what I get for marrying a bull of man, a grey-back hawking physical specimen ever. I hate that word hawking, objected Tom crossly, even in kidding. Hawking, insisted Daisy. Sometimes she and Miss Baker talked at once. Unobtrusively, interfactory in consequence, there was never quite chatter. That was cool as their white dresses and their impersonal lines, in the absolute desire. They were here, and they accepted Tom and me, making only a polite, pleasant effort to entertain the being entertained. They knew that presently dinner would be over, that a little later evening too will be over, and casually put away. It was sharply different from the West. One evening the hurry from face to face towards close, and then continual disappointed anticipation, or else in sure nervous dread of the moment itself. It made me feel uncivilized, Daisy. I confessed to my second glass of corky, but rather impressive Croy. Can't you talk about crabs or something? I meant nothing in particular by this remark, but was taken up in an unexpected way. Civilization going to pieces, broke out Tom violently. I've got to be terrible pessimist about things. Have you read The Rise of the Colored Empire by this man Garrett? Why not? I answered, rather surprised by his tone. Where's a fine book, and everybody read it. The idea is for don't look out, the white race will be utterly submerged. It's all scientific stuff. It's been proved. Tom's getting very profound, said Daisy, with an expression of unthoughtful sadness. We read deep books with long words then. What was that word we? Well, these books are scientific, insisted Tom, glancing at her impatiently. This fell over us what thought the whole thing. It's up to us, well, the dominant race, to watch out for these other races for our control of things. We've got to beat them down, whispered Daisy, winking ferociously toward the frozen sun. You ought to live in California, began Miss Baker, but Tom interrupted her while shifting heavily in the chair. This idea that word Nordics, I am in Joel, and after an infinitesimal hesitation, he included Daisy with a slight nod, and she winked at me again. And we produce all the things that go to make civilization, all science and art, and all that. Do you see? There is something pathetic in his concentration, as if his complacency, more acute than a bull, was not enough in him anymore. When almost immediately telephone rang inside, and the butler left the porch, Daisy seized upon the momentary interruption and leaned toward me. I'll tell you a family secret, she whispered enthusiastically. It's about the bottle snow. Do you want to hear about the bottle snow? That's why I came over tonight. Well, he was always a butler. He used to be their server polisher for some people in New York that had server service for 200 people. He had polished from morning to night, until finally It began to feel fun. No. Things moved from bad to worse, suggested Miss Baker. Yes, things went from bad to worse, until finally he had to give up his position. For a moment the last sunshine fell with romantic affection upon her glowing face. All boys what was doing listening and repeat with amplifier. In speed I changed the speed because the normal speed I couldn't catch. So I have option is 0.75 or 0.5 or 0.25 times, or faster or slower. I choose 0.75, so quite good. I can breathe and follow that voice. Normally it's very hard to catch the breath, so I don't know where can I take a breath. So, but I never record voice like early morning, but I felt pretty good because bird singing and clock is ticking. So maybe tomorrow also I want to try early morning, especially outside. A little bit hot, getting hot, too hot, but still there's some AC sound, but just try tomorrow because I'd like to listen or share my atmosphere, especially morning sound, because pretty amazing with singing bird and clean air. There's no fine dust, luckily. Thank you so much, Australia. But everywhere has pro and con, so you can choose where you want to live. So I choose here because I treasure Australia. Anyhow, thank you so much. Let's move on. Chop next to step. Let's kick things off. So part 2, next level is reading, listening. Listen and repeat with book. So shall we start? Let's get the ball rolling. Here we go. Thank you. Chapter 1. In my younger and more vulnerable year, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the advantages. People in this world haven't had advantage that you've had anymore, but we always been unusually communicative in your reserved way, and I understand that invented a great deal more than that. In consequence, I'm inclined to resolve all judgment I have that is often that many curious nature to me, and also made me a victim of not a few veteran holes. The abnormal mind of quick to attach itself to this quality when you appear as a normal person. And so it came about that in college I was unjustly accused of being a politician, because I was privy to secret grief of wild unknown men. Most of the confidence was unsought. Frequently I was feigned sleep, preoccupation, or hustle leveling when I realized by some unmistakable sign that intimate revelation was quivering on her horizon. For the intimate revelation of a young man, or at least the terms in which they express them, are usually played justly and marred by obvious suppression. Resolving judgment is a matter of infinite hope. I'm still a little afraid of missing something if I forgot that, as my father sluggishly suggested, and I sluggishly repeat. A sense of the fundamental decency is pursued unequally at birth. And after boasting its way my tolerance, I come to the admission that it has a limit. Conduct may found on hard rock or the wet motion, but after a certain point I don't care what is founded on. When I came back from the East last autumn, I felt that I wanted the world to be in uniform, and there sort of more the tension forever. I wanted no more riotous excursion with privileged glimpses into the human heart. Only Gatsby, the man who gives its name to this book, was exempt from my reaction. Gatsby, who represents everything which I have an unaffected scorn. A personality is an unbroken series of successful gestures, then there was something gorgeous about him, some heightened sensitivity to the promise of life, as if he were related to one of those intricate machines that resist the earthquake 10,000 miles away. This presupposes has nothing to do with that Flavian impressionability, which is dignified under the name of the creative temperament. It was an extraordinary gift of hope, a romantic irony such as I have never found in any other person, and which is not likely I should ever find again. No, Gatsby turned out all right at the end. It is what preyed on Gatsby, what foul dust flew in the wake of dreams, and that temporarily closed at my interest in the above soul and short-winded relations of men. My family had been prominent, well-to-do people in this middle western city of 3 generations. The Carraways heard something of the clan, and we have a tradition which were descended from the Dukes of Brooklyn. But the actual founder of my line was my grandfather's brother, who came here in '51, sent to South to the Civil War, and stole the wholesale hardware business that my father carries on today. I never saw this great uncle, but I'm supposed to look like him, with special reference to the rather hard-boiled painting that hangs my father's office. I graduated from New Haven in 1915, just a quarter of a century after my father, and a little later I participated in the Lady Teutonic migration known as Great War. I enjoyed the counter-race so thoroughly that I came back restless. Instead of being the warm center of the world, the Middle West now seemed like the ragged edge of the universe. So I decided to go east and learn the bond business. Everybody I knew was in the bond business, so I supposed it could support one more single man. Oh, my answer uncle talked her over as if he were choosing a prep school for me, and finally said, "Why, yes," with every grave hesitant faces. Father agreed to finance me for a year, and after various delays, I came east, permanently, I thought, in the spring of the '22. The practical thing was to find rooms in the city, but it's warm season, and I just left the country of wild lawns and French tree. So when a young man in the office suggests that we take a house together in the community town, it sounded like a great idea. He found the house, a weather-beaten cardboard bungalow, at $80 a month. But last minute the firm ordered in Washington, and I wandered through the country alone. I had a dog. At least I had on him for a few days until he ran away. Amy the old dog, and the Finnish woman, who made my bed and cooked breakfast, and Mother finished wisdom to herself over the electric stove. It was lonely for days or so until one morning some man, more recently alive than I, stopped me on the road. "How do you get to West Egg Village?" he asked helplessly. I told him, and here's why I walked on. I was lonely no longer. I was a guide, a pathfinder, and a regional settler. He casually conferred on me freedom of the neighborhood, and so what the sunshine and the gray bursts of leaves growing on the trees, just as things grow in fast movies. I had that familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer. There was so much to read for one thing, and so much fine help to be pulled down out of the young breath-giving air. I bought a dozen volumes on baking on the credit and the investment security, and they stood on my shelf in the red gold like new money from the man, promising to unfold the shining secret that only Miles Morgan and the Senate knew. And I had the high intention of reading many other books beside. I was rather literal in college. One year I wrote a series of very solemn, obvious editorial for the Yale News, and now I was going to bring back all such things in my life and become a big and most limited all specialist, a well-rounded man. You see, in just an epigram, life is much more successful. Look at the single window after all. It was a matter of chance that I should have rented a house in one of these strange communities in North America. It was on that slender, virus island, which extended itself due east to New York, and whether I'm the monk on the natural curiosity, too unusual formation in land. 20 miles from the city appeared an enormous egg, identical in control, and separated only by a cursed bay, just as in the most domesticated body of salt water in the Western Hemisphere, the great wet barnyard of the Long Island Sound. They are not perfect ovals, like the egg in the Columbus story. They are both crushed flat of the contact end, but their physical resemblance must be source of perpetual wonder to the gull that fly overhead. To the wingless, a more interesting phenomenon is their dissimilarity is every particular except shape and sign. I'll leave at West Egg, the less fashionable of the two, though this is a more superficial tag to express the bizarre and not a little sinuous contrast between them. My house was buried tip of the egg, only 50 yards from the sound, and squeezed between two huge places that rented for 12 or 15,000 in a season. The one on my right was a colossal affair by any standard. It was a factual limitation of some hotel belle in Normandy, with a tower on one side, spanking you under the thin view of the raw ivy and the marble swimming pool, and more than 40 acres and row and garden. It was Gatsby Mansion, or rather, as I didn't know Miss Gatsby, it was a mansion inhabited by the gentleman of that name. My own house was an eyesore, for it was a small eyesore, and it being overlooked, so I had a view of the water, a partial view of my neighbor's lawn, and the consoling proximity of millionaires, although $80 a month. Across the Forest Bay, the white palace in the fashionable East Egg glittered along the water, And the history of the summer really begins of evening. I drove over there to have dinner with Tom Buchanan's. Daisy was my second cousin want to move, and I'd known Tom in college, and afterwards stayed with them in Chicago. Her husband, among various physical accomplishments, had been one of the most powerful ends that ever played football in New Haven, and national figurehead, one of those men who reached such an acute limit of excellence at 21, and everything afterward savored of the anticlimax. His family was enormously wealthy. Even in college, freedom money was a matter of report. But now, he left Chicago and come east in a fashion that rather took your breath away. For instance, he drove down the string of the polo pony from Lake Forest. It was hard to realize many in my own generation was worthy enough to do that. Why they came east, I don't know. They spent a year in France for no particular reason, and then drifted here and there unrestfully, where people played polo and were rich together. This was a permanent move, say days over the telephone, but I didn't believe it. I would not say it in Daisy's heart, but I thought that Tom would drift on forever, seeking little wistfully for the dramatic turbulence of some irrecoverable game. And so it happened during one windy evening. I drove over to East Egg to see two friends whom I scarcely knew. Their host is even more elaborate than I expected, a cheerful red wine, Georgian colonial mansion overlooking a bay. The lawn started at the beach and ran toward the front door for a quarter of a mile, jumping over sundials, brick walks, and burning garden. Finally, when I reached the house, drifting aside, bright vine, resolved from the moment of its run. The front was broken by a lined French window. Glowing lawns reflected golden light upon the warm, windy afternoon. And Tom Buchanan, in lining clothes, was standing with his legs apart on the front porch. He had changed since his New Haven years. Now he was sturdy, straw-haired man of 30, with a little hard mouth and a supercilious manner. Two shiny, arrogant eyes had established dominance over his face and given him the appearance of always leaning aggressively forward. Not even the effeminate swings of his riding clothes could hide the enormous power of that body. He seemed to feel those listening boots until he strained the top racing, and you could see the great pack of muscle shifting as his shoulder moved under his thin coat. It was a body capable of enormous levers, a cruel body. His speaking voice, a gruff, husky tenor, added to the impression of affectuousness it conveyed. There was a touch of paternal contempt in it, even toward the people he liked, and the men of New Haven who had hid his God. Now, don't think my opinion on this matter is final, he seemed to say, just because I'm stronger and more of a man than you are. We were in the same senior society, and while we were never intimate, I always had the impression that he approved of me and wanted me to like him with some harsh, defiant whisperings of his own. We talked for a few minutes on the sunny porch. I've got a nice place here, he said, his eye flashing over restlessly. Turning me around by an arm, he moved the brown, flat hand along the front vista, including a sweep of sunken Italian garden. I have acres deep pungent roses, and a snub-nosed marble that bumped tight offshore. It belonged to Damien, the oilman. He turned me around again politely and properly. We'll go inside. We walked through a high hallway into a bright, rosy-colored space, fragilely bound in the house by French windows at either end. The windows were ajar and gleaming white against the fresh grass outside that seemed to grow a little way into the house. A breeze blew the room, blue curtains on end, and on the other like pale flags, twisting them up toward the frosted wedding cake of the ceiling and the lip of the wine-colored wall, making shadow on it as wind does in sea. The only completely stationary object in the room was an enormous couch with two young women were buoyed up, as though with a pony anchor balloon. They were both in white, and their dresses were vibrantly flattering, as if they had just been blown back again after a short flight around the house. I must have stood for a few moments listening to the web, the snap of the curtain, and the groan of the picture on the wall. Then there was a boom as Tom Buchanan shut the window and the cold wind died out above the room, and the curtains rolled, and the two young women ballooned slowly to the floor. The younger of the two was stranger to me. She was extended full length, her end of the divan, completely motionless, and with her chin raised a little, as if she were balancing something on it, which was quite likely to fall. If she saw me with her corner of her eye, she gave no hint of it. Indeed, I was almost surprised into murmuring the apology for having disturbed her by coming in. The other girl, Daisy, made an attempt to rise. She leaned slightly forward with a conscious expression. Then she laughed, an absorbed, charming little laugh, and I laughed too, and came forward into the room. I'm paralyzed with happiness. She laughed again, as if knew something witty, and held my hand for a moment, looking up into my face, promising it the wondrous role she so much wanted to see. That was the way she had. She hinted and murmured that the surname of the balancing girl was Baker. I heard it said that Daisy murmured was only to make people lean toward her with relevant criticism that made it no less charming. At any rate, its Baker whispered. He nodded at me almost imperceptibly, and then quickly tipped her head back again. The object she was balancing had obviously taught her a little and given her something of a fright. Again a sort of apology rose on my lips. Almost any exhibition of complete self-excision draws a stunned tribute from me. I looked back at my cousin, who began to ask me questions in a little loud, thrilling voice. It was the kind of voice the ear follows up and down, as if each speech in an arrange of the known that will never be played again. Her face was sad and lovely, with bright things in it, bright eyes and bright passionate mouth. But there was an excitement in her voice that men who would care for her found difficult to forget. A singing compulsion, a whispered listening, a promise that she had done gay, exciting things just while she seemed that they were gay, exciting things hovering in the next hour. I told her how I was stopped up in Chicago for a day on my way east, and how a dozen people had sent their love through me. "Do they miss me?" she cried ecstatically. "The whole town is desolate. All the cars, the left rear wheel are painted black as morning red, and there is a persistent wail all along the road shore. How gorgeous! Let's go back, Tom, tomorrow." Then she added literally, "You ought to see the baby." "I'd like to. She's asleep. She's 3 years old, Haven't you seen her? Never. You ought to see her. She's Tommy Cannon, who had been hovering irresolutely above the room, stopped and rested the hand on my shoulder. What you doing, Nick? I'm a bondman. Who with? I told him. Never heard of them, he remarked decisively. This annoyed me. You will, I answered shortly. You will if you stay in the East. Oh, I'll stay in the East, don't you worry, he said, glancing Daisy and back at me, as if he were alert for something more. I'd be a goddamn fool to let anyone else. At this point, Miss Baker said absolutely with such a suddenness that I started. It was the first word she had uttered since I came into the room. Evidently, it surprised her as much as it did me, for she yawned and with a series of rapid, deft movements stood up into the room. I'm stiff, she complained. I've been lying on that sofa for as long as I can remember. Don't look at me, Daisy retorted. I've been trying to get to New York all afternoon. No thanks, said Miss Baker to the food cocktail just in the pantry. I'm absolutely in training. Her host looked at her incredulously. You are? He took down his drink with every word dropping the bottom of the glass. How you ever get anything done is beyond me. I looked at Miss Baker, wondering what it was she got done. I enjoyed looking at her. She was a slender, small-breasted girl with an leg carriage, which is accentuated by throwing her body backward the shoulder like a young cadet. Her great sun-strained eyes looked back at me with polite, reciprocal curiosity out of one charming, discontented face. It occurred to me now that I had seen her, or a picture of her somewhere before. You live in West Edge, she remarked contemptuously. I know somebody there. I don't know a single. You must know Gatsby. Gatsby? Demanded Daisy. What Gatsby? Before I could reply to shoot my neighbor, dinner was now. Wedging his tense arm imperially in the mind, Tom Buchanan compelled me from the room, as though he were moving a checker to another square. Slenderly, lengthily, their hands set lightly on their hips, the two young women preceded us out on the rosy-colored porch, open toward the sunset, your four candles flickered on the table in the diminished wind. Why candle? Objected Daisy, frowning. She snapped them out with her fingers. In 2 weeks it'll be the longest day in the year. She looked at us all radiantly. Do you always watch for the longest day of the year and then miss it? I always watch for the longest day in the year and then miss it. We ought to plan something, and young Miss Baker, sitting down at the table as if she were getting into the bed. All right, said Daisy. What do we plan? She turned to me helplessly. What do people plan? Before I get answer, her eyes fastened with an odd expression on the little finger. Look, she complained. I heard it. We all looked. The knuckle was black and blue. You did it, Tom, she said accusingly. I know you didn't mean to, but you did do it. What's what I get for marrying a brute of a man, a great back-hawking physical specimen of... I hate that word hawking, objected Tom crossly, even in kidding. Hawking, insisted Daisy. Sometimes she and Miss Baker talked at once, unobtrusively and on the bantering inconsequent that was never quite chatter. That was so cool as their white dresses and their impersonal eyes in the absence of a design. They were here, and they accepted Tom and me, making only a polite, pleasant effort to entertain, to be entertained. They knew that presently dinner would be over, and a little later the evening too would be over, and casually put away. It was sharply different from the West, when evening hurried from face toward the close, in a continued disappointed anticipation, or else in sheer nervous dread of the moment itself. It made me feel uncivilized, Daisy, I confessed. Good job, Dr. Zhang. So, you did it. Step 2. Let's move on. Step 3. Step 3, you need to read aloud. So, when you listen, twice listening and repeat with book and without book. So some word you may know, but some word you may not. But it doesn't matter. If you get it wrong, that means you take a chance to learn this time. So just keep going and speak loudly. Read aloud. Read out loud. You need read out loud. Like shouting. But this morning, and I'm getting hungry. I already talk. I already speak. I already repeat. I already repeating 1 hour, so I'm super hungry, like starving. So maybe in half an hour I got dizzy because I need energy, like food. But just half an hour, keep going, because I want to upload the morning. So, and then I need to upload another 8 more programs. So I don't have no time. Kind of pretty hectic, but so pumped up, so psyched. Thank you so much. So this one I set a time 24 hours. 24 minutes. Oh, I felt I live in 24 hours. You save me 2 hours. Because I'm the leech of time, money, people. So this one, yesterday I read until 22. So from start 22 page. Tom Burntman is riding clothes was standing with his legs parked on the front porch. He had changed since his new having years. Now he was a sturdy, straw-haired man of 30, with a rather hard mouth and a supercilious manner. 2 shining, arrogant eyes had established dominance over his face and gave him the appearance of always leaning aggressively forward. Not even the effeminate swap of his riding clothes could hide the enormous power of that body. He seems to feel these glistening boots until he stained the top lacing, and you could see a great pack of muscle shifting when his shoulder moved under his thin coat. It was a body capable of enormous reveries, a curly body. His speaking voice His speaking voice, a gruff, husky tone, added to the impression of fractiousness. Fractiousness he conveyed. There was a touch of fraternal content in it. Even toward people he liked, and there were men at New Haven who had hated his guts. Now, don't think my opinion on this matter in final. He seemed to say, just because I'm struggling and more of the man than you are. We were in the same senior society, and while we were never intimate, I always had the impression that he approved of me and wanted me to like him with some hustle with some hustle with some hustle main with some hustle main Stuart hired man of 30 with a later half month and supercilious manner. Two shining, errant eyes had established dominions over his face and gave him the appearance of always running aggressively toward. Not even the effeminate swang of his riding clothes could hide the enormous power of that body. His speaking voice of a gruff, husky tone added to the impression of fractiousness he conveyed. There was a touch of paternal contempt in it, even toward people he liked, and there were men at New Haven who had hated his guts. Now, don't think my opinion on this matter is final. He seems to say, just because I'm stronger and more of the man than you are. I'm stronger and more of a man than you are. More of a man than you are. We were in the same senior society, and while we were never intimate, I always had the impression that he approved of me and wanted me to like him with some harshy, defiant wittifulness of his own. We talked for a few minutes on the sunny porch. I've got a nice place here, he said, his eyes flashing about restlessly, turning me around by one arm. He moved a bold, flat hand along the front vista, including in its sweep a sunken Italian garden, a half-art of deep pleasant roses and a snub-nosed motorboat that bumped the tidy offshore. It belonged to Dimany, the oil man. He turned me around again. He turned me around again, politely and abruptly. We will go inside. We talked thought a highway into a bright rosy colored space, frigidly burned into the house by French windows at either end. The windows were hazard and gleaming white against the fresh grass outside that seemed to grow a little way into the house. A breeze blew through the room, blew curtains in at one and out the other like pilot flags, twisting them up to the frosted wedding cake of the ceiling, and then ripped over the wine-colored log, making a shadow on it as wind does on the sea. The only completely stationary object in the room was an enormous couch on with two young women were buoyant up as thought upon a uncharted balloon. They were both in white, and they dressed were rippling the fluttering as if they had just been blown black in after a short flat around the house. I must have stood for a few moments listening to the whip and snap of the curtain and the groan of a picture on the wall. Then there was a broom as Tom Buchanan shut the rear windows and the cold wind died out about the room, and the curtains and the logs and the two young women ballooned slowly to the floor. The younger of the two was a stranger to me. She was extended full length at her end of divan, completely motionless and with her chin raised a little, as if she were balancing something on it which was quite likely to fail. If she saw me out of the corner of her eyes. She gave no hint of it. Indeed, I was almost surprised into murmuring an apology for having disturbed her by coming in. The other girl, Daisy, made an attempt to ride. She leaned slightly forward with a conscientious expression. Then she laughed an absurd, charming little laugh, and I laughed too and came forward into the room. Still with happiness. I need that expression because I am right now. A laugh came forward into the room. Charming little laugh. Observe. pretty interesting parist. 저는 행복해서 몸이 저릴 지경이에요. Yo, I won using that. She laughed again, as if she said something very weird, and had page 26 very interesting paraphrase. Idiom or something expression. Face. Promising that there was no one in the world she so much wanted, so much she was much wanted to see. That was a way she had. She hinted in a murmur that the surname of the balancing girl was Baker. Not once. I've heard it said that Daisy's murmur was only to make people land toward her, an irrelevant criticism that made it no less charming. At any rate, Miss Baker's lips fluttered. She nodded at me almost imperceptibly, and then quickly tipped her head back again. The object she was glancing had obviously tootled a little and given her something of a fright. Again a sort of apology arose to my lips. Almost any exhibition of complete self-sufficiency draws a stunning tribute from me. I looked back at my cousin, who began to ask me questions in her low, thrilly voice. It was the kind of voice that the ear follows up and down, as if its speech is an arrogant of notice that will never be plied again. Her face was sad and lovely with bright things in it, bright eyes and a bright, fascinated mouth, but there was an excitement in her voice that men who had cared for her found difficult to forget. A singing composition, a whispered listen, a promise that she had done gay. Exciting thing just a while since, and that there were gay, exciting things happening in the next hour. I told her how I had stopped off in Chicago for a day when my way east, and how a dozen people had sent their love thought me. Do they miss me? She cried, as ecstatically. The whole town is desolate. All the cars have the left rear wheel painted black as a morning world, and there's a persistent wail all night along the North Shore. How gorgeous, let's go back, Tom, tomorrow. Then she added irrelevantly, you ought to see the baby. I'd like to. She's asleep. She's 3 years old. Haven't you ever seen her? Haven't you ever seen her? Haven't you ever seen her? Never. Not once. Well, you ought to see her. She's Blanchman, who had been hovering restlessly about the room, stopped and rested his hand on my shoulder. What you doing, Nick? I'm a bondman. Who with? I told him. Never heard of them, he remarked decisively. This annoyed me. You will, I answered shortly. You will if you stay in the East. Oh, I will stay in the East. Don't you worry, he said, glancing at Daisy and then back at me, as if he were out for something more. I'd be a god, damned fool to live anywhere else. At this point, Miss Baker said, absolutely, with such suddenness that I started. It was the first word she had uttered since I came into the room. Evidently, it surprised her as much as it did me, for she yawned, and with a series of rapid, deft movements stood up into the room. I'm stiff, she complained. I've been lying on the couch for as long as I can remember. I'm stiff. Don't look at me, Daisy retorted. I've been trying to get you to New York all afternoon. Nothing, said Miss Baker to the 4 cocktails just in front of a pantry. I'm absolutely in training. Her host looked at her incredulously. You are. He took down his drink as if it were a drop in the bottom of a glass. How you ever get anything done is beyond me. I looked at Miss Baker, wondering what it was she got done. I enjoyed looking at her. She was a slender, small-breasted girl, with its erect carriage. She's accentuated by throwing her body backward at the shoulders like a young cadet. Her gray strained eyes looked back at me with polite reciprocal curiosity out of one charming, discontented face. It occurred to me now that I had seen her or a picture of her somewhere before. You live in West Egg, she remarked contemptuously. I know, somebody there. I don't know a single. I don't know a single. I don't know. You must know Gatsby. Some year before, you live in West Egg. She remarked contemptuously. I know somebody there. I don't know a single. You must know Gatsby. Gatsby? Demanded Daisy. What Gatsby? Before I could reply that he was my neighbor, dinner was announced. Wedging his tense arm impressively under mine, Tambuchunan compelled me from the room as though he were moving a checker to another square. Suddenly, languidly, their hands sat lightly on their hips. The two young women pressed us out onto a rosy-colored porch, open toward the sunset, where 4 candles flickered on the table in the diminished wine. Why candles? Objected Daisy, frowning. Objected Daisy frowning. She snapped them out with her finger in 2 weeks. It's been the longest day in the year. She looked at us all radiantly. Do you always watch for the longest day of the year and then miss it? I always watch for the longest day in the year and then miss it. We ought to plan something, yawned Miss Baker, sitting down at the table as if she were getting into bed. All right, Daisy, said Daisy. What'll we plan? She turned to me hopelessly. What do people plan? What do you plan? What do people plan? Before I could answer, her eyes fastened with an awed expression on her little finger. Look, she complained. I heard it. We all looked. Her knuckle was black and blue. You did it, Tom, she said accusingly. I know you didn't mean to, but you did do it. That's what I get for marrying a grunt of a man, a great big hooking physical specimen of I hate the word hooking, objected Tom crossly. Even in kidding, hooking, insisting Daisy. Sometimes she and Miss Baker killed at once. Unobitten silverly, and with a bantering in consequence. There was never quit chatter. That was as cool as their white dress and their impersonal eyes in the absence of all desire. They were here and they accepted Tom and me, making only a polite present of effort to entertain or to be entertained. They knew that presently their would be over, and a little later the evening would be over the casually parade. It was sharply different from the West, where an evening was hurried from face to face toward its close, in a continually disappointed anticipation, or else in sheer never nervous dread of the moment itself. I've read from 22 to 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. Yesterday 9 pages. Anyhow, almost 8, 9 like that. If I have a half an hour and I read like this. And now check the words and expression, and I got a good expression of a word. Just figure it out. Let's get the ball rolling. So page 36. But keep thinking, this 9 pages, big, listen and repeat, and or just 2 or 3 pages every day. Keep going, like, because this one is 6 to 486, but kind of half, because half Korean, half English version. So this one has 2 versions of language, but tiny letter. Maybe let me think more. Let me think twice. So which one is more effectively? I need to save time, people, precious one as well. Also, I help them dramatically get it. So I'm happy. They're happy. I want to make them happy and healthy. Stay healthy. So fasten. 똑바로 쳐다보다. Fasten. The child fastened his eyes on the stranger. The child fastened his eye on the stranger. 아이는 그 낯선 사람을 유심히 쳐다보았다. Fasten. 똑바로 쳐다보다. Fasten. When I got angry, I can fasten that driver. He's so rude, crazy. I dislike her. It's very bad manner, even though the elderly people, I can't get it. I couldn't accept it. With a weird expression. 두려운 표정으로. With a weird expression. Hooking. Lost and awkward. Unobtrusively. 주제 넘지 않게, 조심성 있게. Unobtrusively. I never heard. Do I need to keep this book, or should I change this easier one. In consequence, 불합리한 무슨. In consequence, presently, soon, before long. 이윽고 얼마 안 가서. He will come here presently, soon. Presently. This one I can use directly. He will come here presently. He will come here presently. I'll be there 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 presently. Contemptuously. 얕보듯. Contemptuously. diminish. 얕보다. contemptuously. frequently. presently. The longest day in a year. diminish. 감소되다. The heat diminished after the rain. The heat diminished after the rain. The cold that warm diminished after the rain. In longest day in the year. The longest day in the year. Did I read it all? I don't remember. Pay attention more. Absolutely. Wholly. I'm absolutely in training. I'm absolutely in training. I'm absolutely. incredulously. 의심하는 듯이 회의적으로. incredulously. take down. swallow. 삼키다, 들이마시다. take down, swallow. carriage. the manner of holding the head and body. 자세, 태도. carriage. the manner of holding the hand and body. 자세, 태도. with an erect carriage. 자세가 곧은. with an erect carriage. sun-strained. 햇볕에 부신 듯한. 햇볕으로 상한. sun-strained. occur. come into the mind. occur. Yesterday I saw this one from Ipcheon. See, it's good. Also, I saw this one also I learned from food truck. Occur. Come into the mind. Actually, I didn't know that. So occur. Come into the mind. Come into the mind. So two phrases I can use. He will be here presently. Occur. Come into the mind. Occur. Persistent. Of tendencies, etc. Lasting, go on, continuing. 지속되는, 끊임없는. persistent. decisively. 절정적으로, 단연코. decisively. annoy. trouble, worry. be annoyed at a thing. be annoyed at a thing. 괴롭히다. You annoyed at a thing. You annoyed at a thing. Self-sufficiency. 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 Did I read this one? Self-sufficient. 자급자족. 자부. Self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency. Stone. 어리벙벙하게 하다. He was stunned by the unexpected information. He was stunned by the unexpected information. An arrangement of note. 악보를 편곡한 것. He was stunned by the unexpected information. I was stunned by the unaccepted information. An arrogant note. No. Stop off. Stop for a short stay. 잠시 머무다. Drop by. Stop off. Can you stop off the supermarket? Miss. Feel needily the absence of miss. 뭐뭐 없는 것을 아쉬워다. Miss. 없어서 쓸쓸하게 여기다. Miss. I miss you so much. I miss. Feelingly the absence of. Wow. Just like there are good expression like this. Feelingly the absence of. Come forward into the room. Come and go. 반드시 우리말이 오다, 가다와 일치하지 않는다. 상대방의 가다는 come을 쓴다. What time will you come to my office? I will come at 2 in the afternoon. What time will come? Stop. Come. Drop off. Stop off. Drop by. Stop off. What time will you stop off? What time will you stop off to my office? I will stop off. Snub noise. Snub noise. Offshore. snub noise 들창고. snub noise 들창고. snub noise 들창고. snub noise offshore. away from the shore. 앞바다에. offshore. high hallway. 천장 위의 높은 현관방. high hallway. bound. 정겹하다. bound. B-O-U-N. bound. Canada bounce on the United States. 캐나다는 미국과 접경이 있다. way. a distance. grow a little way into the house. distance. 집 안쪽으로 약간 기울어 자라다. grow a little way into the house. this way. grow a little way into the house. The frosted wedding cake over the ceiling. 설탕을 뿌린 결혼식 케이크 같이 생긴 전자. The frosted wedding cake of the ceiling. The frosted wedding cake of the ceiling. New Haven year. New Haven year. New Haven year, 즉 예일 대학 시절. Hard mouth. 또 hard mouth dominance or dominance or ascendancy establish dominance 대부분을 차지하다. dominance capable of susceptible capable of susceptible touch. I want a touch of salt. It wants 김이 조금 암시. It wants a touch of salt. 소금을 조금 넣어야겠다. It wants a touch of salt. Very good. I never thought about it want. 이것은 필요하다. 소금이 필요하다. It wants a touch of salt. It wants a touch of salt. It's very. Thank you so much. Everything I want. Take one's breath away. Surprise. Take your breath away. String. Irrecoverable. 돌이킬 수 없는. Recoverable. Irrecoverable. Drift up. So I did what I read. I read 3 minutes. But today at the part 1 I didn't watch, just listen and repeat. And listen, repeat with book and read aloud from 22 and 36 to 36, 9 pages, and reviewing, checking words, and speak by myself. And I have 12 minutes. Oh, pretty long. Yesterday I didn't, not that much. See, every single day is growing up. Every single day is better and better. So, but I'm still thinking, what is the best option to dramatically made it dramatic? I need drama, dramatically effectively. So in also short time but good result. Also when I read, I pop up some mind. I got some idea. I got some idea from my mind. Also, I need to read aloud Ip Young and start English, easy English, Ip Young in his writing. I need to that everything. Also, I need to improving my vocabulary level. So also, TOEIC is good. So there, when I did, there's 7 programs, 20 minutes. So 2 hours and 20 minutes. 2 hours and 20 minutes. But when I study is like Ip Young, I need 1 hour for cover that to remember and understanding. There's Power English. Oh, maybe 3 hours, but Power English. Just keep listen and Ip Young as well. But Ip Young, I need his Peter Bint British accent. So what should I do? I have a good idea. I need a good idea to improve English. Just only 100 days. Already passed 3 days, so I have 97 days. I have something strong thing. So but just keep. Yeah, seriously, I need solution. Which one is better? At the first time I read, I listen and repeat, like shadowing. Listen and repeat 1 hour for 1 hour, and then read aloud half an hour. So I read until 182, but I didn't get anything from this one. And also this book is quite not easy for me. Word, and even though I'm not understanding, so what should I do? So just start a few days ago, just 2-3 days ago, I tried to eat 2 hours and separate 4 sections, eat for half an hour. So read the same thing but more detail, and then more pay attention, read and try to figure out what does it mean. Yeah, I'm sure just keep going, or just separate more tiny things, maybe 2 page, 4 page, or change the easy one. So I will do like 2 hours with Ip Young, but also I need to read Alice Wonderland. So I have both book. This one, so like Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. This one also I have MP3 file, audio CD included one, that one, but there's no Korean anything. I thought, do I need Korean? Yes, it is. Or just using Ip Young and more pay attention 100 days. But I need listen more carefully. Also, I need dictation. Dictation means listen a lot, so it seems effective. So down the rabbit hole. So I felt that time that the voice from Chinese teacher so pretty good. Alice felt, but I need British pronunciation. So Peter Bin, so Ip Young, no, Ip Young. I need Ip Young. Alice felt too sleepy to play, and there was nobody to play with. It was a hot afternoon, so she was sitting in the garden under the tree. Her sister was sitting beside her, but she was reading a book. Alice looked at a book. There were no pictures in the book, and Alice didn't like a book without pictures. I think I will go and pick some flowers, she said to herself. This one is my letter. Yeah. Also, I have a British version as well. So, this one from one. This one. This one is just 40 pages of MP3 audio. So, and I have another. I need storybook with MP3 file. What should I do? I have a lot of books. I want to use all of them and book completely. Book completely. Book compare party. Book completion party. I want book completion party. And that feeling is rewarding. Felt sense of rewarding. I want to be a great humorous. I want to be great humorous. I want to be great humorous. I want to be great humorous. Great sense of humorous. Great sense of humorous. Great sense of humorous. Now let's picture. This is. Yeah, I don't wanna lose interested in like this system. So what should I do?
I don't know.
안 돼요. I mentioned.
You wanna go?
Yeah. So just should keep chapter on this read. So when I read, Alice felt too sleepy to play, and there was nobody to play with. It was a hot afternoon, so she was sitting in the garden under the tree. Her sister was sitting beside her, but she was. This one I can handle every day, and put using cassette machine, and play and stop. I need that one. Actually, I really need that one. That's why you don't do it too many things. Just few things, and then perfectly using it. Especially pay attention for high local. There's my team, there's my people, my precious one. They're waiting for me. Yesterday, Malang mentioned, oh, I got a text from her. She always waiting for me and check every time high local application to Dr. Zhang, she's there or not, when she will come. So I will follow her. She said like that. So thank you so much. Yeah, I need to more naturally, smoothly to be host, lead the party. So also every day gave that good energetic energy. So I need it. So pay attention is high local party first, and also 4 hours read aloud, like practicing upload every single day. I want a lot of things. This one thing is okay, by yourself. You need to be selfish. First is British pronunciation. So, Peter Bean. I need Peter Bean program and British English, like her EBS one. But wow, please help me.